I guess the biggest question that I have here is, why does James Bond have to be gay? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, look, if you're signing in for the first time, my name is Elroy. This is my world. If you haven't already, please do click that like button, the subscribe button. Let me know how you're feeling about the topic we're going to talk about today afterwards, because, you're going to need to listen to it a little bit first. It is what it is. Anyways, so there's a lot of talk online, I've noticed lately, about this new TV show that's called Qforce, which is an LGBTQ animated comedy series that is essentially being touted as a gay James Bond. Now, look, I have no problems with the homosexual community or the LGBTQI community. That you guys do what you do, and that's cool. Go for your life. I'm not going to attack. I don't know. The thing is, I don't believe in attacking anybody, right? That's not what I'm about. What I am about, though, is the idea that why do we need a gay James Bond? Now, there have been ideas about having a black James Bond that could be epic. You see, the thing about that is you're changing skin color. You're not changing the core identity of who James Bond is. I don't have a problem with making a black James Bond. If you do, please leave a comment down below. That'd be awesome. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But see, the thing is, you can change a man's skin color and his character is still the exact same, right? James Bond has been tagged for decades as with the very simple tag of men want to be him, women want to be with him. That's the simple tagline that you've heard, and if you haven't heard it and this is the first time, go check it out. That's James Bond in a nutshell, right? That's what every man, when you watch a James Bond movie, you're like, oh man, I wish I was James Bond. And the idea when they create those movies is for women to be like, man, that guy is so seductive and sexy, it's crazy, right? That's the whole point of the James Bond thing, alongside this sophisticated spy action film, which, to be fair with you, I'm a big fan of James Bond, and I think that the series, the film series, incredible, right? I also love the TV series Archer, which is another spy show, right? So, which is definitely, if you haven't seen that show, again, here's a plug for that. Go out and watch Archer. It's incredible, it's fun, it's hilarious, and you'll enjoy it. And I feel like Archer is pretty much James Bond as an alcoholic, right? So yeah, all right, but see, James Bond is still, and to be fair with you, Archer is kind of what James Bond is in the books: drinking all the time, smoking all the time. I don't know if he does any drugs. I haven't gotten that far in the books. I'm reading through them, but Archer is pretty much the James Bond of the books on screen, so in a TV series format, which is epic. It's crazy, it's great, I love it, right? Then you have your James Bond movie series, which has basically been created and the character is defined. We know exactly who James Bond is when we watch it. So why, and this is the only thing that I have, is why do we need to have a gay James Bond? Why do we have to change this idea and use that as a tagline for another TV series? Why not just call it a gay spy series? That would be fine. I have no problems with this, but why bringing in, obviously, it creates controversy, and I'm talking about it now, so this makes a lot of sense, right? But we don't need to change who we have. We've got James Bond, and the foundations have been laid over decades, right? We've watched movies, and if you haven't seen the movies, I believe they started in the early 60s or the late 50s. I can't remember exactly when the first movie came out, but that was Dr. No. If you haven't seen, that's when it started. Sean Connery was the very first James Bond, and we have this sort of outline of how James Bond is. So now, the question that I have is, why do we need to change James Bond as a character? Why not instead, right? If we were going to do this, and I've got this feeling too, by the way, just this TV series, if this becomes something that's incredibly successful, which, hey, go for your life. The show's called Qforce. It's coming out on Netflix pretty soon, I think. So go check it out. I reckon it's going to be hilarious. I'm actually going to watch it. I'm keen to see what it's like. But I've got this feeling that if this show does really well, they're going to promote this idea that we should try having a gay James Bond in film. Now, the problem that I have here, because this is a domino effect, I'm just going to tell you this now, right? The problem that I have here is we already have James Bond, who he is. Why can't we introduce other characters that could be just as incredible as James Bond, but they can be gay or bi or whatever they want to be, right? And they're in that universe, but they're still amazing characters and amazing people. This is the thing that I don't think that people realize when we want to change. We don't need to change James Bond, okay? And this is the thing that I'm worried about, is that if this show is really successful, that we'll begin to have people saying, hey, well, it works on TV, let's make it work in the movies. No, let's not make it work in the movies. I like James Bond the way it is right now, and if you don't like James Bond the way it is right now, then why are you watching James Bond? That's the first question that I have for you. Make another property that is a gay spy film series like this guy, these people are doing with like Netflix is doing with this animated series. Again, I'm very keen just to watch this animated series. I want to see what it's going to be like. I love James Bond. I love Archer. I love the chicanery that comes around from Archer. So I'm curious just to see what happens in the show. Now, here's another thing that I would like to put to everybody. Why how about we have characters in the series, they could be possibly gay. The new Q, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but to me he comes across, he could be a gay character. Why can't he be the gay character? Why would it need to be James Bond? Moneypenny, right? The new Moneypenny, she could be bisexual. Why does she have to be, why again, this is the whole thing. Why does it have to be James Bond, who has this ideal set in stone for who he is already? Now we want to change, and the more we change things, the more we're going to lose stuff. That's all I'm saying, right? I have no problems with anybody, but why do we have to change? Maybe I'm a purist. Maybe that's what I am. Who knows? But look, this is the final thing that I want to leave you with, because I don't want to just like talk for no reason. The final thing that I want to leave you guys with is that I think that Qforce is going to be an epic. It's a great idea just to look at the struggles that people of the LGBTQ community may face within the super spy world, right? To find these character issues, the developments. I think that could be a great show, as long as it's not in your face with you guys hate us and that's why. Don't do that. Make it a great show because it's a great show. Make the characters great because they're great. That's what I'm curious to see in this. And, I just want to see, will they use this show to challenge the norms, to look into the personal life of people that have to deal with these sorts of things? And the one thing that I'm really, really, really curious is if this show does do really well, could there potentially be a crossover with Archer? I think that would be just a great mix from both shows, depending on how well this show is, obviously. So I'm curious to see what could happen there. If you guys have any opinions on this, please, down below is where to post them. If you think that I'm completely stupid and wrong and this is a ridiculous topic of conversation to be talking about, that's great to tell me too. Again, guys, if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do that. Now is the best time to do that, if you haven't done it from the beginning. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.